keeps cutting out on me. That's really strange. Um, what were your beliefs in high school? What did you?
Well, what were my beliefs? These are good questions. I mean, what were my beliefs in high school? Well, towards the end, when I did, even though I didn't graduate, I took tests to get into college. And when I got into college, I wanted to be a botanist. So I was studying botany and plants. So the high school days were sort of like non-existent, really, when I look back at it, except for meeting like Dan Porter. That was pretty cool. But other than that, my beliefs as far as studying and being happy, and I really wasn't. So I left. And then when I did go back to school, I was having a pretty good time at Western State, actually, in Gunnison.
What did you study there? Botany.
My main thing was botany, which is I liked. I still remember the professor, Dr. Fischel. I still remember him.
Did you graduate from Western State?
No, 2 years.
2 years.
And then
There's
I went back to CSU, well, CU in Boulder had an extension in Colorado Springs. It's called Cragmore. Now it's called UCCS. So I went there and I was doing okay, but we had a spring break, which was in March, and I won't get into the whole story because it's kind of long, but during spring break, I went out to Yosemite with Billy Westbay, Stuart Green, and Doug Snively to climb. At first we were going to climb the Muir Wall, and then all of a sudden, looking at pictures of El Cap, I saw a line that looked pretty interesting. That turned out to be the Cosmos, the one I soloed. So when I went to do that, we failed. We were threatened to get shot. We went up on it and getting threatened to get thrown off the top, and so.
So you went and tried the Cosmos with Billy and Stuart.
Just Billy. Stuart and Doug were trying the NA. Just Billy and I. And these guys, you gotta come down. We're gonna get our gun and blow your balls off. That's exactly what they said. And I said, Stuart, I think they're yelling at us. I mean, Billy. I said, Billy, I think they're yelling at us. I think they're really mad. So we talked about what to do. We came down the next morning. Billy took a fall, and they're all screaming and clapping. You're gonna die! You're gonna die!
Oh, God.
If you make it to the top, we're gonna throw you off the top. And so we came down, and then it's kind of a long story. So this might be too long.
No.
So we came back. So we ended up going back to school, and I couldn't study. It just wouldn't work.
Huh.
So I just turned in all my books and just said I'm leaving, and that was my last time in college.
Huh.
But in the meantime, some of the things that happened when Billy and I came down, in the meantime, Doug Snively and Stuart didn't want to do DNA. Stuart said we weren't ready for it, and I don't think they were actually, although we recommended it. So Doug said, I'll climb with you. So I said, yeah, I'll do DNA. Then Danini, do you know Danini? Danini says, Jimmy, what are you doing? You just did DNA with Billy. Why don't you go do the new one? But Jim, these guys are really upset. They're going to throw us off the top. They're going to shoot us. And he said, don't worry. There's no interest in this route. They're just yelling because you're from Colorado.
Who were they?
Never knew.
Really?
Like 6 or 8 of them. There was a mob, a bunch of them.
Oh, my God.
I don't know who they were. To this day, I don't. No one's ever told me who they were. So Deanie said, don't worry. I'll meet you on top, which he did with Dan McClure. He said, if they're up there to hassle you, throw you off, I'll throw them off. So I thought, oh, that's interesting. So, okay, let's go do the new route. So Doug and I going up on it, and all of a sudden, we realized, wait a minute, I don't think we can do this thing. But I remember looking up at it, thinking, this is pretty scary up here. So, and we only had a few drill bits. We didn't have very many, and some were already broken. So let's get out of here. We had made a deal with Billy and Stuart that if we were coming down like at 9 in the morning, early in the morning, that we'd all drive back to school, to Colorado, and go to school. Well, we came down early, and we walked from the camp, base of El Cap, to Camp 4. Hey, you guys, where's Billy and Stuart? Oh, they left for Colorado at 5 this morning. What? So we're there in Yosemite, no wallets, not even 5 cents, no credit cards, and so.
Why did they leave?
Because they thought, Stuart told me recently, actually well, he's told me this in the past, but recently, like 6 months or 8 months ago, he said, you guys were so driven, I didn't think there was any way you were going to fail. You were going to get to the top, and we couldn't wait. So anyways, they left us, and then we thought, oh shit, what are we going to do now? In the meantime, Jim Britter wanted to climb it, and these guys were wanting it. So Danini gave us $100. Why don't you take a bus back? So we took a bus back, and all we had enough money is I bought 2 or 3 pounds of dates, and we drank water. That was it. So I had a bad stomach ache. So I go up to school. I thought I just couldn't study. I couldn't get into it. This climb was like bugging me. So we got in my $115 car, a 1960 Chevy Impala. I bought it for $115 from Larry Marr, and all we had was $2 tires. Every time we got a flat, we'd fill up, we'd change it, put the other to the spare on, fill up with gas, and buy another $2 tire. So we made it to Yosemite like that.
Oh God.
Too much? Like that. Then we went up on the climb right away, and it was Doug actually, on his right hand, on the second pitch, he broke 3 fingers, and a big block fell in his hand, and there was blood everywhere. So, it was just running down his arm, and what's amazing about Doug, I think he was no older than 18. He might have been 17. We didn't talk about it. We got to the bottom, and we were looking at each other. We weren't talking like, does it hurt, or what do you think? And tears rolled down his cheeks.
Oh.
Because he knew he couldn't go. He was messed up. So we're walking down the trail, and here comes Jim Bridwell. Oh shit! Bridwell, the last person you want to see, because he had put the word out of, I'm going to break anybody's arms and legs if they go up in this climb, because he wanted to do it. He had tried it. So he's walking up the trail, and I'm right next to him, like, oh, what are you guys doing? I remember him saying that. Well, nothing really. My friend broke his fingers. You can't climb. And I kept going. I never asked Doug what he said to him when Doug saw him, but it turned out that Bridwell was the first person I saw after I did it, and ever since then we were good friends. He said, I'm impressed. And they cook you supper.
Huh.
He shook my hand. And then when I came back to the campground, the very first person I saw was him. Of all the people in the world, I can't believe I'm running into Bridwell again.
He's everywhere.
And the only thing I saw, Danini did meet me on top with Dan McClure, but if this is the top, I was on this part coming down, the nose over here, and I didn't see anybody. The only thing I saw was a peregrine falcon looking at me.
So you're going down the west side of El Cap?
Yeah. So I got to the top. I'm looking around. I didn't yell at all because my voice sounded weird if I said something. It sounded, because I didn't talk for like 9 days. So when I said something, it sounded really weird. So I get to the top, and I didn't see anybody. I thought they might be there, and the only thing I saw was a peregrine falcon looking at me. It was pretty cool. We stared at each other for a bit because I wasn't talking and making noise. I just, I got to the top, started walking towards the very top, and there it was. And then it turned out Danini and Dan were over here looking for me.
These ledges.
With champagne and cake. And they couldn't find me, so they drank the champagne and ate the cake.
Oh, that's terrific.
Anyways, well.
So, you went back, that was 72, right? May of 72. And you went back in 1991, was it? Or
Yes,
2,
exactly, yeah.
with Middendorf.
John Middendorf.
Ducey, yeah.
The one and only.
The one and only. He's such a wonderful, wonderful guy. What happened there? Did he try and talk you into that, or did you talk him into that, or what happened?
I wasn't in very good shape because I had been, I'd been doing other things, but I always wanted to finish it. When I soloed it, the first time I did it, I started to go straight up to finish. I didn't want to traverse on thanks Thank God Ledge or Thanksgiving Ledge. Whatever.
Thanksgiving Ledge.
Thanksgiving is Thanks God is on Half Dome.
Half Dome, yeah.
Okay, Thanksgiving Ledge. So I started to go up, and my hands. I remember I couldn't go like this. I couldn't close them.
Oh my God.
Maybe I remember I couldn't make. So I said.
So puppetry was out of the works for the career thing, and
I've had it. I'm out of here. So I just walked along the ledge and ended up pretty much soloing. I found the easiest way, but just ended up soloing 3 pitches. But so I said, hey man, we should go do this direct finish. And he was, and I know he was a good partner because he had done like 40 El Cap routes, and he was like way above me, you know.
yeah.
So I knew I'd be safe with him.
I remember being on the Muir in '93 and looking down at him coming up the Muir below us, and it was like someone walking down the sidewalk. He's so fast. I couldn't believe it. I'm like, what is it? It's John.
It was him?
Yeah. He just stayed at our place in Aspen. We had to get a lecture up there, but yeah,
Really?
Yeah. What other walls what else did you climb in Yosemite over the years?
Well, I did the 5th ascent of the NA with Billy in April 1971. And it could have been actually, no, it was May 1971. In April 1971, I did the 2nd ascent of the Heart with Andy Embick. Did you ever know Andy Embick?
I've met him, yeah. Ice climber, doctor in Alaska, right?
Yeah. With him and Roy Clearfield.
Okay.
And then before that, I did. Andy said it was the 33rd ascent of the Nose. I'm not sure he figured that out, but that's what he thought. So we did that in 1970 in the fall. I think it was the fall. And before that, I did Half Dome with Jack Firth in 1969. You ever heard of Jack Firth?
No.
He was one of the Burnley lads. They used to come out every year and stay with us in Colorado. And there was Ray Breeze, Jeff Horn, and Jack Firth. There were 3 that were.
Burnley and where? Vermont or somewhere?
Burnley
New
in
Hampshire?
England.
Oh, in England. That's what I thought you meant. Okay.
Yeah, they do like Jim Butties and there was something. Jeff Horn
Jam Butties, yes.
Jeff was so excited about broccoli and butter because you can't get this in England. This is like unbelievable, broccoli and butter. Then there was another guy that we hung out with, Bugs McKeith, Boogsy McKeith. You ever hear of Boogsy McKeith?
Yeah, ice climber up in Canada.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, we hung out with him too.
Is he Canadian or English?
Scottish.
Oh, Scottish. That's right. He is Scottish. Yeah.
He was in a band called the Squirrels in Scotland.
There was a climbing group of Scotsmen in Boulder called the Squirrels too.
Really?
Back in the '60s, yeah. Someone Robertson was in it.
Brian Robertson.
Brian Robertson, yeah.
Did you meet him?
I've talked to him on the phone once, but
Yeah.
but it was for the Leighton thing.
Yeah.
But, yeah. They get around the Brits, don't they?
It was some amazing days.
Yeah.
You know, now I think you'd get thrown out of the valley. You know, we'd have these big fires, and there'd be like Boogsy McKeith playing his guitar, and there's like a whole bunch of Englishmen, and they'd have their hands on the shoulders. They'd march through. They'd be singing "Onward, Christian Bonington," 10 chopped toes, 10 chopped fingers, chop, 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 and they'd be in the bathroom, and the light would go off, chop, the light would go off, chop, they'd go on, and then they'd march all through the campground. It was like, I look around, these guys are too much. They're just too much.
Yeah.
Then in the morning, you'd wake up. I went to the campsite first thing in the morning. There was this figure covered in ashes. You knew it was a human, but you couldn't tell if it was alive. And it was Boogsy McKeith. He stayed at the bitter end. He just collapsed by the campfire, and his whole body was ashes. Like it would have been like the classic picture.
Oh my God.
I know, and I thought these guys are something. Because I had just, I had been in Colorado Springs and meeting all these guys, like, holy mackerel. These guys are something else.
Yeah. Okay. What do you think about climbing in Yosemite?
Now?
No, back then.
Oh man, it was like unbelievable. I mean, coming here, leaving Colorado Springs and going there and meeting everybody and being in the campground and all these routes to do and all these people from all over the world and it was like for like 5 years I did twice a year, spring and fall. And one of my friends actually, I didn't know her then, but I met her through my other son Rain, who was hanging out with this girl Emily, not boyfriend, just friends, and Rain was actually friends with her boyfriend slash husband. And Emily's mother is Lorraine, and she actually, her best friend was Diana Hunter. You ever hear of Diana Hunter?
Of course.
Of course, yeah.
El
Unbelievable.
Dorado, she's in the
Unbelievable.
Climb book a lot.
Unbelievable.
Yeah.
Henry told me one time that he backed off something and she let it.
Yeah.
Here's a
I don't know if I ever met her, but
Yeah.
I got there right after she was active. She was active in the early and mid-70s, wasn't she?
Yeah, early
Yeah.
70s. But
Yeah.
and so anyways, they were best friends. So Lorraine would go to Yosemite twice a year, and she was like, she said it's an addiction. She couldn't live without it. It was so amazing.
Huh.
And then Ashley, she told me she was watching me solo a cab, and I said, really? I've never asked anybody this, Lorraine. What was it like watching me up there? I've never asked anybody. She said, it's pretty. I watch you every day, and it was pretty amazing. And I said, what was it like though? Well, there was a bunch of people who were kind of pissed off at you, some grumpy people, and there was some envy, a lot of envy. And then there were a few people that had admiration, but he said it was pretty wild to actually listen to the grumpy people that were pissed off, upset.
Yeah.
They should have done it.
Yeah, they should have done it, yeah. That's why they're pissed off, is they don't have the
Well,
wherewithal.
I was an outsider.
Yeah, that's true too, yeah.
I was an outsider, and
Yeah.